Hello and welcome to our first lunch with Live in America. My name is Cynthia Post Hunt and I'm the programmer for theater and dance at the Momentary. Let's get started. Carra?
Hi, y'all. I am Carra Martinez. I am the director of Live in America, which is what we're going to be talking about today, Live in America. And we're having lunch. You'll notice that tacos are present. Inevitably, mine are like deconstructed. Nice. Inevitably, all of this will turn into chaos. Here we go. I thought we could start by my sort of talking us briefly through what Live in America is. And these three folks with us today, and we'll get to Jamelyn and Ty's introduction. We'll make a thing of it. They can hop in at any time. They know what I'm talking about. Live in America is a new live performance festival from Fusebox in Austin, Texas. And it's working in communities from across the US, its territories, and a little into Mexico to think about what Live in America means in towns, Live in America, like live performance in America, what it means in towns and cities and rural areas. We're working with communities including Las Vegas, Nevada, Albuquerque, New Mexico, those folks are with us today. El Paso, Juarez, New Orleans, Louisiana, Northwest Arkansas, Sumter County, Alabama, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Detroit, Michigan. I have like a map in my head and I just go the map and name the places. What Live in America has been doing the past couple of years, getting ready to build this festival that will happen in Northwest Arkansas in October of 2021, is asking a lot of questions. What does live performance look like in communities outside of formal art institutions? Who's leading those performance practices? What are the communities involved? Who's the audience? How does the audience interact with performance? What's the joy in that performance? What's the struggle in making it? Would those artists in their communities like to join a festival in October of 2021 in Northwest Arkansas? And if so, like, what are the barriers to entry in terms of bringing your performance tradition from its home community to a new place, in terms of translating it to new communities, in terms of resources that'll be needed to sort of create those processes? We just ask lots of questions. And that gets into another sort of aspect of what live means in Live in America, is that our process is pretty live. If you're going to ask people questions, they're going to give you answers, and those answers should change what you're doing. And so we spend a lot of time changing our process in hopes of taking better care of people, in hopes of being more welcoming, in hopes of like honoring people's traditions in their communities. And that's what we've been doing in preparation for this festival. We'll have been working towards it for 3 years by the time it happens. And the folks that are sort of helping us think through this, we call our facilitator teams. Jamelyn and Ty are members of our Albuquerque team. And we're gonna just talk to them today about the answers to these questions, and they'll have questions, and we'll inevitably go off topic, and we'll get into thinking about our lunches, but we're just going to have a conversation that sort of mirrors how we go about making this festival. So I'm going to turn it over to Jamelyn and Ty. Y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Sengi Tamu, good morning. My name is Jamelyn Ebelacker. I am of the Corn Clan of Santa Clara Pueblo. I'm very honored to be a part of this team as the producer for the Albuquerque contingent. You know, this really is like a special project. I don't know that I've ever been given the opportunity to eat tacos on a Zoom with my cactus. So I'm really excited. You're in for a treat.
Whew, that corn clan, and I'm having the bloom corn tacos today, Jamelyn. Yes, I feel so connected to you.
Thank you for hearing my people.
Yes. So Bonjour, Nin, Ty, Indigenous Cause, Ty Defoe, from the Oneida and Ojibwe tribal nations. I'm like Turtle and Eagle Clan, and man, I wish I was Taco Clan because I love tacos, and I'm so happy we're eating them today. I'm like, I need this in my life. But let's see. Yeah, so I am so grateful to be on this team to like uplift New Mexico and Albuquerque and the entire team there and do what I can. I'm also yeah, just really excited to know how, we can talk about America and tacos and how those things are related to the lime sitting on my plate in terms of metaphor. Because I'm like, yo, what are we going to talk about today? Like, what is America and how is it a taco? So these are just some nourishing thoughts I wanted to bring to the table to regenerate and to decolonize, indigenize this conversation today. So Kara, I really appreciate your deconstructing tacos.
Oh yeah. Oh
'Cause
yeah.
it was, what is that?
I like to build my taco with a certain sense of proportionality, which I grew up with. My grandma always made us fresh tortillas, and so that was the prize. And so I still in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, the tortilla is the prize. You don't want to overload it. So I just dab
So
on
beautiful. So beautiful.
Wow, I love that.
Ty, you started this. Will you talk to both of y'all, all of us, talk about what the idea of America means to you? I think our fallback in the US is it means the US, and of course it doesn't. So yeah, what does America mean to you? What are the complicated thoughts you have about that? When do you find yourself like code switching in and out of different ideas of America?
That's a great question. I mean, I think, with America, the borders were placed on the land, and the land was like, "What's up with these borders? Why are you placing borders on us?" Right? Sort of like these tacos. Like I just kind of put things on it, and there's no, it's not a separate on the taco. It's not like the cheese is over here, the avocado's over here, these pumpkin seed things that I dropped on are over here, right? It's like all together and it tastes good, it looks good on the plate. Like I want to eat it all. So I think, in terms of America and what that is, it's like, to me, it's being one with the land, being one with the food, being one with like all the things that are put together. However, that being said, sometimes the cheese, which is a whole other deal if you're lactose intolerant like myself, has to have the vegan cheese on here because I'm like, sometimes that like white mozzarella cheese don't sit so well. So, so, I gotta find like different alternatives, even though it like goes together. So something about this taco is really making me think about like America and what that is, that the taco will always be here. It is here, and the taco will be here into the future.
Yeah, it was there before America was an idea or a word.
Way to stretch that metaphor.
Yeah. Jamelyn, America, thoughts, ideas.
I thought about this question a lot. America has a very
barking, just want to acknowledge that.
Long history. It's part of the Zoom. Just 2020, it's fine. People get it. America has a very interesting history, and interesting puts it lightly. I think, there's so much depth and layers to what America is. When America was founded, indigenous groups were already here for hundreds, thousands of years. And, that kind of diversity around this land, along with, the history of people being brought to this country against their will, people being, forced into slavery, and people, there's a lot of dark side to America. Let's be honest. I mean, but there is a lot of hope in America as well. And I do like that America is ever changing. You know, there's not just one way to describe America because it's about stories. And there's so many different stories from so many different peoples geographically located all over the country. And how to bring this back to tacos, I'm not sure.
You don't force it. Don't force it.
I'm not trying to, okay, well, I won't force it now, but yeah, I think for me, America is about writing our own stories and being able to have the freedom to move forward from a history and not go back. So I think that permeates in a lot of the work that we do with, you know, this festival and with the groups that we're working with, is that there's an aspect of growth and hope that we have to maintain to see the beauty of America.
So sort of building on that, thinking about sort of as we began working on this project in Albuquerque, I think we've spent maybe 2 months just talking about what performance is in Albuquerque, like making list of lists, describing, looking at photos. Can you just generally talk me through sort of how performance lives in Albuquerque, who's doing it, what it feels like, how the community responds to it, just sort of a landscape of it in Albuquerque?
Yeah. Ty, you want to take that one, or you're working on that taco?
Ooh, blue corn.
All right. Okay. Blue corn. So Albuquerque performance, I suspect, is a lot like performance in other cities, but because there is an indigenous wave of artists and artisans in the state, there's always been this aspect of what is perceived as artistic performance. But for a lot of indigenous cultures, that is a way of life. That is how we live our life, through song and dance and storytelling, through making pottery and basket weaving and beading. That has always been just a part of the culture, which nowadays is seen as artistic performance. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some beauty in that, but it kind of permeates. Again, I really love that word, permeate. But the feel of Albuquerque blended with our indigenous brothers and sisters from below the border, all around the Four Corners area. There's so many diverse, beautiful art styles that are practiced every day, whether or not someone's watching, because it is a way of life.
Woo, woo. I almost choked on something on my taco. That was so beautiful, Jamelyn, about what you said. It is a way of life, like 2000%. Like, you know, just thinking about, you know, the chilies on the vine, or people going for walks, or as you said, Carra, like the idea about landscape. What does that landscape look like? It's just both inspiring and invoking and nourishing, like this taco, at the same time as it's regenerative, and it's like making new things. Because, you know, with indigenous people there, it's like what for decades and centuries with Native folks have been doing with the dirt in the earth, with the sky above, and then over time the tools just begin to change, and then language begins to change, and labels begin to change. So what I think is so beautiful about, you know, going to New Mexico, visit my friends, and seeing folks who are there, of indigeneity, I think there's a multitude of layers of like truth telling that are going on. It's a multitude of layers of healing going on. It's a multitude of layers of liberation that's going on. So, and you get all of that, and what do you do with it? You put it in the tortilla, boom. Best taco ever that you just crave and you just need.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, like in our early conversations. is like trying to strip away layers that we even brought to the conversation. Like, oh, what if this is not in a theater? What if it's not a dance that's lights up, lights down, and you need a formal black box space for? Then what do we get to? Like just working hard to strip away all our preconceived frameworks for what performance looks like and where it must be, how it must be performed, how you make it travel easily, what it looks like in a festival circuit, like just stripping that away until we got to something that felt right for that community. Will y'all talk, Cynthia? Do you have any questions right now? Like, we're just rolling because we're on the phone with each other constantly.
Well, I kind of wanted to jump to talking a little bit about collaboration. And I wanted to hear from you both what it means to you. I mean, I think that this project really speaks to collaboration and also a way of life. I think collaboration lives in every part of what you both do. So I wondered if we could just jump to that a little bit. Who's at a better stage in their taco?
Speaking of taco collaboration, I haven't seen you eat a single taco, Cynthia.
I ate a whole taco.
Okay. Okay.
I'm on my second. Oh,
You're just so stunned by Ty's metaphor that you lost your vision.
If nothing else.
I get that taco. Wait, Cynthia, what was the question? Totally kidding. You are eating, you are digesting. Take the time that you need. So we wanted to talk about collaboration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been collaborating, and I think I love this being collaborative because, you know, when we think about what is representation look like for, right, the state of New Mexico, for example, and it's like there isn't just one nation of people or community or family. It's not a monolith, just like all of Turtle Island or, you know, the United States, both the north and all the way down south of the turtle tail to its head is made up of, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have been here, who have traded things like food, clothing, things for shelter, things for the arts. And so why bring that up? Because I think it's important today that just because we are not, you know, hundreds of years past, we are still in the present moment today. And that same form of like blood memory exists today, so that we can hold up certain values that we do share in mission, so that we can carry these not only just like rich cultural traditions, but new ways of thinking, innovative ways of thinking, and evolution, so that our peoples could go into the future, right? And to some, that also feels like it might feel, you know, like sci-fi or something, like architecting and imagining a world that has not yet been made or fixed. But oftentimes, you know, I'm thinking about being in communities and I'm like, wow, if the apocalypse came, or say a global pandemic or something, right? Like Indigenous Native people, we are ready for that. We got our tacos. We know how to light them. We know where to get the chilies, the cheese, like all those things already, because of the innovation, the evolution that exists, and also the group thinking and the, you know, the passed down growth that exists coming through us into the future. So all those things, the past, present, and future, are always, always right there. And so when I think about collaboration, I think about collective thinking, and how much more powerful are you if you think about, like, if you are an octopus who has like 9 brains, right? A fluid animal that has 9 brains, and they have to think about how to survive because things are trying to kill them, right? That they have to figure out where they're going to go for food, you know. So I'm using these metaphors as a way to anthropomorphize, you know, and decentralize the humanness of ourselves, to think about things in a new kind of way, right? Because colonization, as we know, has us to put things in boxes, has us put labels on things. And truth be told, you just cannot put a label, you cannot put a box around a taco, right? It's just what is.
I love your answer. This is why I love my job. You know, to riff off of that most perfect answer, collaboration is also a way of doing within Native cultures. You know, Indigenous nations have never elected one person to speak for everyone. There's throughout time numerous examples of nations coming together to discuss, to talk, to hold space for certain issues. And I think, to me, that's a way of decolonizing our process that works for what we're doing, and it works within the art world, and it works within the Native world. You know, there's really not ever been a time where I didn't collaborate with Carra or Ty or Cynthia or any of the other staff on Live in America, because I don't feel like it's just one person's choice to make. You know, there's all these skill sets and knowledge that comes from each one of these individuals, and together collaborating, we're creating something that's much more than the individual. So it really is part of the decolonization process. You know, you can have a tortilla on a plate, but until you add the meat and the veggies and the cheese, you don't have that perfect taco.
Jamelyn, whoa, that's metaphor.
Thank you. I've been holding on to that one.
I feel like I need to add tears to my recipe of my tacos, because I was tearing up a bit. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I love what you said, because I do think there is something about this idea too, in service of being with one another and among each other, the interconnectivity of that, the idea that, you know, we are lifting to rise, right? Like, you know, we hear this like rise, and in terms of social justice circles, but since time immemorial, this idea about lift to rise, what would that be like if we could all do that? And I think like that is aspirational thinking, because, you know, the truths that Jamelyn had mentioned before, that is so real and so true. So it's a constant every single second to be a generous collaborator, a generous individual, so that we can lift to rise. And I feel like these are in our, you know, stories, these are in the art that's being made, the tacos that are getting done, right? You have to feed the entire community so that everyone is nourished.
And can you talk about that, and give examples even from the way that we've worked, like linking that idea of like lifting people to rise in decolonization? I think some folks like are beginning to hear the word decolonize, and they're like, what does that mean? So I don't need you to, I mean, I sometimes think examples teach meaning as much as anything else. Like, as we've worked, how have we had to decolonize ourselves? When has that happened? And how does that connect to like lifting people?
Yeah. That's the native point with the lips. So real. I think, you know, some examples I think about are, you know, times where Jamelyn was working on these like amazing social justice projects across the country, where we had to sort of dial in and call in, and, you know, something as simple as, in this global pandemic, like checking on each other and asking, no, really, like, how are you doing, right? And to really receive and to hear that, to be like, no, really, how are you doing? Not like, what are you doing? It's how are you doing, right? Which means asking where you are showing up that day, so you can be present to listen and hear and steward space among the group that's working on the project, you know? And I think with us, it was like a lot of like laughter as medicine, of like laughing about something because you just cannot make things up that happen in this country, you know, whether it's an anecdote about people, and we begin to laugh. And then at the same time, in the next 30 minutes, we begin to cry. We're like, because the shit is real. Oh, can I say that on here? Shit.
Just did.
I just said it. I
Just
said
keep going.
It's wrong.
I said it. You know, so the whole thing, like 30 minutes later, we are in tears because we are also individuals that are holding so much of the past and so much of the present, that this laughter becomes healing because it's bridging a gap for us to show up for one another as real individuals in real time and space, so that, you know, we might be going through things at the same time. And so that, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? You know, becomes a real, you know, connection in forming relations with each other versus forming transactions with each other, which then defaults to right of colonization of, it's just business as usual. You know, we're on the Zoom, we're going to get through this meeting because, you know, we have to stop at said time, you know, which, yes, it's good to honor people's time, but how can you partner with time to cultivate and sculpt out intentionality throughout the time you are meeting, which becomes so important. And I know I have cherished these moments with you all through this global pandemic we're going through, in creating a space so we can show up for hundreds of other people that hopefully will show up.
No, I get lonely for our meetings, which is not a thing that I've ever said out loud before, ever. But Jamelyn's like traveling a lot as we're working, and like we've been so many places with you, Jamelyn, that like you can list them, but they're like sometimes in a week we don't meet, and I'm then lonely for it. And technically it's a work meeting, but because the way that we work is like driven by our spirits in some way, not in some ways, it is driven by our spirits. Yeah, I get lonely for it if we have to go too long without it. But Jamelyn, you should name all the places that you've been from which we've all met.
Ooh, I don't know that our Zoom lunch is long enough. But yeah, there definitely were times where I'm, you know, driving down the highway and somewhere in Georgia or Pennsylvania or Michigan, and you know, I've got you two hands on the wheel, of course, got you in a sling on the dashboard, and I mean, it is such a feeling to have, you know, my friends with me on this project, and I think that allows us to basically decolonize this structure of, you know, sometimes rigid, you know, steps that you must do in order to put together a festival like this, or in order to have some sort of large event. But the way we're going about it is very decolonized, because there's a lot more passion. There's a lot more intimacy, I think, with the way that we're choosing to look at this project. Carra, I have never met you in person. And
True.
you know, we've only known each other for probably about four or 5 months at this point. Ty, I haven't seen you in person in years, but you know, and Cynthia, I did get the pleasure of meeting you recently in person, which was amazing. But I, you know, even without those boundaries of being, you know, of closeness, there is something really special about creating from a place of love, and creating from a place of, you know, passion, and having that team to drive you forward, I think is what makes, you know, this project really something special.
Well, we're coming up close to time. And we still haven't talked about, we'll be back. We'll figure out how to do all this in the future. We haven't, like, can you give folks a preview of we talk about our project. Yeah, our plates are empty. The tacos are gone. Clearly time has passed. Will you give folks a preview of the project y'all are developing?
You are in for a treat. Together with Ty Defoe, Carra Martinez, and myself, we have developed an idea to bring really the essence of Albuquerque and Native country to Northwest Arkansas in the form of a pop-up powwow. Traditionally, powwows are gathering places. There's marketplaces, there's dance, there's food. It really is a cultural celebration in a lot of ways. And we are intending to share that with the good people of Bentonville and the country. So I'm really excited to see how that really unfolds. And I hope to see you all there.
Ty?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add on to that awesomeness and we often refer to it as a hodgepodge buffet and trying to figure out what it is landing on the taco. And something I want to add to that is, this idea about queerness, like queering space, and what is that? And when I think about, oh my gosh, what is it also to go these concentric circles of things, to go chisel all the way down and talk about queerness? Is it like what happens when you put queerness and a pop-up powwow together, like a community within a community within a community, to make something brilliant, to talk about truth telling, to talk about liberation, and to talk about how we're all connected. And the only thing I can think of, if I were to design the moment right now that I don't have in my hand, would be like a handful of like sprinkles that sparkle and like go whoosh into the virtual. So whoosh, just like that, where it's just infinite possibilities, that when you see glitter for the first time, or sparkles for the first time, or when you wear that shine, that kind of feeling we want for every single artist and folks that come up and emphasizing uplifting queering space.
I'm just thinking about, we don't explicitly have any glitter in our thinking.
We can leave that off the budget.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there is a budget.
But I love the sparkle. We got to get the sparkle.
Gotta get the sparkle. I mean, sequins. I mean, shine.
Amy Lynn is like, no.
I don't want glitter coming anywhere near my taco. Never again.
Well,
Sounds like a story. Like you're gonna go into a story about glitter and tacos, which maybe we shouldn't record that.
Let's see. If we're gonna, we've come to a conclusion. It seems like we've come to a conclusion. Cynthia, any final thoughts you have for us?
Well, I just want to share with our audiences that as you may have seen, we've announced the festival. This is our first of many programs to be expected over the next year as we start to move towards the festival itself, which will be in October of 2021. So there is a beautiful website that you should check out. Carra, what's the website?
Oh, Live in America. Oh my God, it just left me.
We'll flash it on screen or something.
We'll flash it on screen.
Maybe with glitter.
All the time.
Or below in post. But
the festival. We'll flash it on screen though.
And then the Momentary will have the, as we get closer to the festival, we'll be registering for the festival through the Momentary's website. Can we talk about the festival being free?
It's free.
So
Free whoosh.
every performance, every storytelling circle, every workshop, free for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of programming.
So more soon.
Thank y'all. Thanks for joining us for lunch. Thanks for sitting with our taco metaphors.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me eat.
Yeah. See y'all later.
Yeah, this has been fun. Till next time.
Yeah.